please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. And this video comes from, when I do it? I did last night. Man, I'm a bit fuzzy this morning. Clearly, I've been catching up, okay? I've been catching up. There's a lot of videos I've been making from my live streams this morning, and this is like number... I remember how many I've done, right? There's lots and lots. So I'm just like, like, share, subscribe. It's kind of like just become like grained into me as an automatic response. But like, share, subscribe anyway. You know, that's the thing. I want to be sincere when I say it, because I actually do want you to like, share, and subscribe. And I actually am grateful that you do like, share, and subscribe. I mean, like... You say it's so easy to forget that, but it really is true. Anyway, this was from my live stream I did on Sunday, February 19th, and I was joined early on in it by Dan Hadley, Birmingham's King of the Geeks, who I misnamed as King of the Geese, which I laughed a lot about that at the time as well. As we went over the entirety of the Christopher Eccleston era, both on TV and audio, and boy, the sharp decline of the the Ninth Doctor adventures on Big Finish when they started their second season is really dramatic. I mean, it really, really is dramatic. It wasn't the strongest of ranges to start with. It was lovely hearing Christopher Eccleston, but like really the so far on audio, they've done The Ravagers, which I thought was excellent. That was the Nick Briggs 3-parter. That had a bit of weight to it. And they had three very good Cyberman stories. And look, so 6 out of 12, and then you have another 6 reasonably disposable stories. That seems fair. That seems fair as a season. This one, though, I'd stopped buying it by the second or third box set. So and nothing new has been announced. So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe they've had a big fall off. I can't imagine they're not doing more. They just haven't announced it. But please, man, what makes it very clear is it needs a complete revamp and a creative vision. You know, these box sets, even the names don't really tie things together, like Shades of Fear and Back to Earth. Even that doesn't work. No, you need to come up with the concept before you start the box set and then see it through, rather than trying to shoehorn it uncomfortably into an idea, which is basically what it feels like has been going on. Anyway, I like a bit of Christopher Eccleston. I like a bit of Doctor Who, quite frankly. I like a bit of Doctor Who, right? I was very unsure when I first saw Christopher Eccleston. It took me a while, but then I fell in love with him, and then he regenerated. Really? So I was like, story of my life, mate. Story of my life. Like, share, subscribe, comment, all those things are fantastic. Thank you very much. I am very grateful for everybody out there liking, sharing, and subscribing. I think I've already said that. Yeah, I've already, you know, because I said it a lot today, right? Thank you very much. Please do that. Head over to my Substack, sign up to that. Head over to Instagram, Twitter, all those things. Like the video. If you want to send me baskets of fruit and say, this is what I would really like you to do, okay? Do you remember the episode of Star Trek when they had that giant demon-headed cave thing with a computer in it, and the natives, these simple natives, would bring like these baskets of fruit, right? Yeah, I would like to do that. That would really be great for me. I don't want to eat the fruit. I want you to give me the fruit. That's really what the fruit I couldn't care less about. You giving me the fruit in some subjugated manner. That's great. That's fantastic. You know who would not like that? The Ninth Doctor. No, he would not like the Ninth. He would not like that at all. Fine. Like, share, subscribe, comment. All those things are fantastic. Now let me hand over to me. It was from last night. Okay, I wanted to read this article. Every Series 1 episode ranked best to worst. So I'm intrigued to know what their take on this would be, and how, if I agree, because they just released this. I think, is this the final in the second run of Chris Eccleston Big Finish? I'm not sure. Right? If they announced the Thursday, man, that the difference between year 1 and year 2 is huge. Right? Absolutely huge. Which Ninth Doctor episodes are fantastic? Basically all of them. And which should be cast in a Time Vortex? Basically none of them, by Cy White. Breaking news, it's 2023, which means we're officially in the year of Doctor Who's 60th anniversary. Yes, that is true. 6 years of the Doctor traveling in space and time inside the TARDIS, entertaining literal generations of fans. That is true. Though, of course, it hasn't been on air for all those 6 decades, having trailed off in the darkest recesses of the British culture in '89. Well, again, New Adventures kept us going, mate, right? It kept going. Then in 2005, we colloquially refer to as New Who. Well, there's a bit of a mid thing as well. The New Who, with Rusty Davey at the helm, Christopher Eccleston in the starring role. Well, again, they were very, very reticent to connect it too strongly to the original at the time. And you really see that, right? It was very sparingly. And then the second year, much more so, right? The show once again solidified itself as a fixture of the television for decades to come. However, being that it was re-entering a previously occupied space and trying to reinvent itself for audience, both old and new, it was a tough task to conquer just what Doctor Who was supposed to be in the new millennium. Well, I think that was Christopher Eccleston's main problem with it. He really didn't know, right? He really he didn't get the role, he said, until Dr. Dancer's Timeless Children. And you see the change at that point in him. Like, oh, why can't you read that script first, Chris, mate? That would have done the trick. Well, one word, fantastic. From the awkward and forgettable to the signs of brilliance that have come, here's episode 1, the first of 2005 revival, ranked from worst to best. So, Boomtown, I'm actually going to agree. Yeah, I think that probably was the weakest episode of the season. It's like between Boomtown and The Long Game. I think The Long Game was weaker. Right? I think The Long Game was weaker. Sometimes there has to be a bottom of the list, and for its moments of brightness, Boomtown remains the dullest episode in Christopher Eccleston's run. I'm not sure. I don't know. The episode's greatest strength is an example of the season was brilliant connective tissue. The returning villain. Well, it felt like a filler episode, didn't it? I mean, it felt like, we're filming it in Cardiff, right outside the back door. We have a returning villain that centers for the first time on a time rift scene in the Unquiet Dead. The first mention of the heart of the TARDIS, and consider it being Captain Jack to Cardiff. Boomtown really feels like a soft launch pad for Torchwood. Well, it kind of was, right? However, more than that, it feels like feels like a bottle episode. Yeah, right. Although Savine in a skin suit, Margaret says most of the time in human form, flapping her gums from moral quality. Well, yeah. Listen, it was a filler. It was clearly, it was clearly a filler episode. Worse yet, that the Doctor Lux, I think it's a spelling error. What the Doctor Lux into a situation for the issue of Margaret looks into the heart of the TARDIS and winds. Yeah, no, it's a bit of a Russell T Davies fluff, right? Okay, fine, I agree. Still think, what's the called game was worse? What's the one I'm thinking of? Long Game was worse. Now you know, that's just one man's opinion, right? Just one man's opinion, and it's probably better to balance that out and get another man. But it has been brought to my attention. I could be somewhat of a fearsome, personality. I could be somewhat forceful. She cried, officer. That could be said. So I need somebody to keep me in check. I need somebody who radiates light out from all around him, like a streak of bat piss in the dark. Yes. Who else could it be? Coming on the channel, the royalty himself. Who is royalty? Birmingham's King of the Geese. King of the Geese. Birmingham's King of the Geese. And Geeks, maybe.
I'll be King of the Geese. King of the Geese any day. Bat piss.
There you go. With an intro like that, they keep coming back.
Good to see you too.
So they're doing their ranking of episodes. So the Long Game. I will put this at the bottom. Where would you put the Long Game?
I would put that at the bottom as well.
Right. So they had Boomtown at number 10. I would put Long Game at number 10, and
They
probably
got
Boomtown
Boomtown.
number 9.
Boomtown, yeah, I don't think Boomtown gets a bad press, but I think it's undervalued.
Just everything else is better than it, I think.
Yeah, I honestly think I don't think it's particularly bad. It's just that everything else is so much more memorable.
Right, you got Aliens of London World War 3. Season. I mean, that was wonderful. It was still very season 1 though, right? It hadn't quite felt it was still finding its feet.
You know what? I prefer that. I prefer that to The Empty Child. I know. That's much more my thing. Yeah, I love it.
It's a lot sillier. It's a lot more fun.
I'm a very silly person.
Look, the design. I like the farting aliens. I think that was good. I like that the focus on children in the first season in general. I thought that was excellent.
Me too. It was in my view, it was perfectly pitched. And
man, so they put this way down the list. They put this at number 8. So I disagree. I disagree.
Yeah, I do too.
I love that. Rose. I think Rose was weaker than Aliens of London and World War 3.
I agree.
And that because it was the first episode. Again, they didn't really know what they're doing, right? And it's so different from all the other ones. It was really done as a pilot, right? You can see that it's going to be that might have been it, I think, right? If they had been good.
I don't know about you, but I struggle to watch that episode and just leave it there. I feel that they're a two-parter. Rose and the End of the World work far better.
It goes back right into the End of the World, right? Or is it? Yeah. Is End of the World then? What's the name?
Dead.
Quiet Dead. But the special effects. So some bits in End of the World kind of was a bit naff, like him walking through the giant fan thing. I'm like, yeah, okay. Didn't really bother me at the time, but it was just like, I liked all the aliens. I like okay. Here's what's great about End of the World. It really goes to shatter the preconception that it's cheap and it's going to look tacky, right? That's what it's for. I think the effect shots of the destroyed Earth and them holding hands at the end is just beautiful, right?
Well, if you remember, buddy, they were still working on that until 4 days before broadcast, was it?
Wow. That's the other thing. This production. You got such a feeling of them putting in every effort to make it great, and also so bonkers as well. You had Cassandra, and was it the last human? Is that?
Yeah, Cassandra. There was Jabe, the tree woman who gave me wood, and various Moxa Balhoun. All those characters, just wonderful stuff.
Now I remember seeing the leaked photos that somebody snapped from outside the set in the sun about 6 months, 8 months earlier. Did you ever see those?
I did see them. Yeah.
For the first time, the Moxa Balhoun came out, and what did you think of his costume when you first saw it?
I remember seeing that and the Slovenes out on location filming as well, and thinking, yes, it looks like Doctor Who's back. The show is back on. I didn't really judge it. No, I didn't.
When I saw the costume, I was like, "Oh, that does not look right to me. That looks a bit too basic, all right, a bit too normal." And then I saw the first episode before it aired as a pirated one.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, did you?
No, I remember it being in circulation, and I was offered it, but I refused it.
So no, I watched it with this weird eclectic group of Doctor Who fans who make the Doctor Who fans at Gallifrey One look attractive. It's a bad group of people. So and it had the Tom Baker music on, and the people I was watching it really hated it. But it was you got a feeling of it. It wanted to be more a modern contemporary production than it wanted to be Doctor Who at first, and I had to lean into it.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean.
I think this episode, The Unquiet Dead, was the first time it felt like Doctor Who.
I got that feeling with The End of the World. But I know what you mean. I watched The Unquiet Dead. I reviewed this about a year ago, and just like the other two episodes we talked about a moment ago. I've never thought this was bad. but every time I watch it, I see something else in it, either thematically or
it's a lot
in something actors are doing.
It's still one of Mark Gatiss' best scripts.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair.
It really is. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of in Doctor Who, say it's a lot of fun, a lot of bravado. I like the opening tease with the "Oh no, not again" when there was a zombie. That was good. And again, the special effects were like I was still kind of in awe of it having like being so content. Like I imagine this being able to play to Americans, and they go, "Oh, this is normal, right? This doesn't feel cringe."
Yeah.
So Eve Miles first appears in this one.
I always forget that until the episode's in full swing, and then she pops up. You go, Eve.
Yeah, right. And I like the girl. I like this episode. This was a strong episode. Fine. So let's see what do they say is better. Bad Wolf Parting of the Ways. Yeah, I think that was very strong.
Fair point. Yeah,
it was. I preferred Aliens in London World War III to Bad Wolf and Parting of Ways.
That's a big swing, mate. Ooh, that's a big swing. Even I would put this above Aliens.
It hadn't really leaned into Doctor Who yet, right? It hadn't got into its scope. It knew it wanted to be big, but it didn't know how to achieve it. And it's still, the Emperor of the Daleks looked good, but the Dalek set, it still looked like sets, right? It wasn't till a few years later when it started to be like widescreen. And it was a learning curve, right? So it was okay. The standout for it was the holographic speech to Rose, right? That was like had lit heads and back.
Those moments in that two-parter for me, I wouldn't say the saving grace, but to me they're what lifts it above the adventure, above the threat. The fact that all of that stuff is written so well and delivered without any kind of mawkishness, and it's still amazing that happened in year one. To think that these episodes are now 18 years old, it's terrifying.
Man, they haven't aged. They're sharp as ever. They really. Yeah. Although most of Doctor Who, I don't think has really aged. I mean, I saw Horror of Fang Rock recently. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. You can play that today on TV.
No,
it's very good.
I largely agree. That's why when people go on about shaky sets and things like that, you think, oh, well, now and again, very, very occasionally. But if you want to penalise it for having the odd production value issue, like you say, look at how the rest of it hasn't dated at all. You can put them in front of anybody, and the stories are still really compelling. In
fact, I would say the most dated stuff is the early 80s now, when they tried to be contemporary.
You could be right. Yeah.
I like the new when they do new special effects. I always prefer watching those ones. Right, Ark in Space is just so much better with the new effects. But this really doesn't need it. Fine. So then Father's Day. Look, Paul Cornell, douchebag extraordinaire. But he knows how to write.
Yeah, I think that's a strong episode as well.
Yeah, I think this is in the right place.
I regularly talk to a couple of people who think this is soap opera-ish nonsense. I've never seen. Yeah.
Wow.
One guy in particular really hates this episode. It's just pure soap. I just don't know even where. I've stopped having the conversation with him.
It's like genuine character, right? I mean, this was one of the most developmental episodes of both the Doctor and Rose.
I agree. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It felt like the world was ending. This was absolutely one of the best episodes of the season.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay. Fine. So we all agree. Although the action figure of the Reaper was useless. It was
that as well. Yeah.
Empty Child Doctor Dances. I think it's up there. I think the number 2 slot is probably. I can't remember what they're going to have.
I understand why people place that so highly. It's just it's not. And I think, I do like it. I do rate it, but I enjoy most of the season more than that. It's just a personal taste thing. It's a completely subjective thing.
I think it's the first time it was really genuinely scary.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It gave you that Doctor Who chills. Right. And the cliffhanger was excellent. The monster was terrifying. The kid was absolutely terrifying. I liked when did what's his name from what's his
One Foot in the Grave.
Yeah, when did he turn into a zombie? Was that the first episode? That was in the first episode, right?
It's right at the end. We're towards the end of episode 1. Yeah.
Oh, you got Captain Jack. Captain Jack is fantastic in this. Got Rose hanging from the barrage balloon in the Union Jack shirt. That's so iconic. Right,
I think this whole story is really properly iconic.
No, I like this one a lot. Look, I mean, for me, I think what they got to have the number 1 slot. Let's have a look. Dalek. Well, that's an interesting one to put at number 1. I don't know. Yeah. It's
because it's quite atypical of the series.
It's probably one of Eccleston's best performances, and again, I wish he
without a doubt.
Yeah, and interesting in many ways. Best one? No, I don't think so. Right? I think I prefer. Okay, so I prefer Empty Child Talk to Dances. Right? I prefer Father's Day. I slightly prefer Bad Wolf and Parting of Ways. Okay, slightly. I prefer that to Unquiet Dead.
I suspect whoever put this list together, and it's a perfectly viable list, it's each to their own, isn't it? But I would say that somebody who put this list together was probably about 7, 8 years old when these episodes were airing, and these are the ones that the impact that they made then is still dictating how they rank them now.
Probably.
That's the impression I get, which is, say, perfectly reasonable.
Probably. Yeah,
but no, I wouldn't agree.
But this new branding looks so good. I have to, every time I see it, it looks so good.
It looks so good that it's actually shaming the banners that they've continued to use behind it. They need to update that now, I think.
You're right. Somehow. You are right. Yeah. Here, so I want to do the. Have you listened to any of the audios?
You know what? I haven't listened to any audio Doctor Who this year.
Oh, really?
Nothing.
Wow.
And I've bought. What did I buy? Oh, I bought Cass. The
that's good. I'm 1 episode in. That's actually very good.
I wanted to give because I do miss the 8th Doctor. I didn't listen to any of Stranded, and I really missed the character of the 8th Doctor. So.
Cass is the first time it was. So far, it's been safe to come back. Although I think I'm in the first episode, and his son is not the best. Okay, his son is not the best. Okay, so of the 9th Doctor on audio, Ravagers, it's way too expensive. Way too expensive. Like, that's crazy. Download $20. Okay, that's just it's just way too expensive, right? But this is the best of the bunch. It's Nick Briggs coming in and defining the range.
They're getting complacent with the 9th Doctor after just 2 years.
After 1 year. Wait, you'll see the degeneration, right? So this release was good. Response to all calls was mediocre filler stories. Lost Warriors, there was still worth listening. This one had one absolutely excellent Sidemen, like one of the best Sidemen stories I've ever heard, and 2 forgettable episodes. But that one Sidemen story was so freaking good. I mean, I wouldn't recommend. Like the vinyl is 43, isn't it? My God. and the download is 36. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
They've gone up in price, haven't they? I swear they have.
They've all gone. Everything's gone up. And then Old Friends, I would say, is also very good. It's a two-parter Brigadier, Warren Brown. One kind of throwaway story in it. They should have put the three Cybermen stories together on one collection.
I think that was the last one I heard. Yeah, I haven't heard the last few Eccleston ones.
All right, so but like they're all again, this one completely throwaway. Just mediocre stories, right? Old Lang Syne. They only have 3 stories on a disc now? Yeah, they only have, Old Lang Syne I think was the best one on this. But these are all missable, right? Everything was missable. This was this was where they actually made a decent attempt where they tried to do a good Christmas episode and it didn't really work. Pip Torrens was the bad guy. The female Sontarans wasn't as bad as it sounds. And Lars says, yeah, no, I mean, again, this was the best of the second year. Then they had the third one used it. It had Liv and Tanya in it, who Tanya is a woman with a penis who's dating Liv. So that was the last one, and now Shades of Fear. I don't think they have anything else. So is this they don't have anything else lined up with them though? Okay, it's good to know.
I haven't heard anything announced for a little while actually with Eccleston. Right. I think he's recorded more. Come to think of it, but they haven't.
Well, it could be this. It could well be. But so yeah, that was Christopher Eccleston on TV and on audio. So, but here it might well be this. Is he in this? I think he's in this, isn't he? 1 second. So it's got.
Yeah, he must be because he's the one who let it slip that he would work with Warner, wasn't he?
Right. So now they're also bringing in. They're going to have Stephen Noonan as the first Doctor, Michael Troughton as the second, and Tim Treloar as the third. So they got the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th War Doctors in it, and 10th. Oh wow, right up to them. I guess no. I guess they take it up to David Tennant. My name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.